Hey everyone, what's up? Ivo once again, and welcome back for another movie review. And this time, another Jean-Claude Van Damme film, and that's gonna be Cyborg. Came out 1989, released by Canon Group, and it was actually his second film that he actually did. And I'll say Cyborg is underrated, kick-ass, badass action film. Is a science fiction post-apocalyptic science fiction action film, and I really love this film. I love Cyborg, I love this movie to death. I mean, Cyborg is a pure badass action film. They don't make action movies like this anymore. In a low budget, is a pretty awesome movie. It's a badass. This is a badass action film ever, in my opinion. It's a underrated kick-ass action film, and and Cyborg has been directed by Albert Payun, which I don't watch his movies. I remember watching Nemesis 2 and I hated it as a kid. Never saw the first one because I was not a fan. I tried to get it, couldn't get into it. I'm not interested seeing Nemesis, his films. I saw Kickboxer 2 and 4. I like 4. Many people hated 4. 2 was okay. Not like the first one with Jean-Claude Van Damme, but of course written was been by Kitty Chalmers, and the music score, which I love the music score, was actually by Kevin Bassinson, which is Kevin Bassinson, which is a beautiful song. Like dun 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 dun. I love that music score, dun 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 dun. And Van Damme's definitely best performance, in my opinion. Yes, his best performance. He's in shape of his life. He's a martial artist. Kick-ass. This movie kicks ass. He has like cool villains, great pirates. Great pirates. Played by Fender Tamolo, played by Vincent Klein. I have this movie on Blu-ray, and I know there's a director's cut out there by Albert Payun, and I never saw the director's cut. I'm glad I didn't, because when I watched the review from Rambo Rap for Life, he said that it was a terrible film. The director's cut was a terrible film. He felt like ripped off, and I never saw it, but I remember a long time ago, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, more 5 years ago, I listened to the original score, which I wrote down from the original score. The original score. The original score, but the original score, Anthony Riparetti and James Satt, and I hated that score. I swear I hated that score. That score was terrible, That score was just god-awful, it was terrible, That score was god-awful, it was terrible. So I think that Kevin Bassinson, I hope I pronounced it right, his last name, did a great job, because I love that music score. Dun 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 dun. And also Albert Payun shot it completely differently. Completely, the story was completely different. It wasn't the hunt for the pirates and for the cure was completely different. And producers asked Jean-Claude Van Damme, Menhan Golan, rest in peace, and Joran Globus, if he could later release the movie the way it is, but he convinced producers to give him the movie, and he's gonna edit it, and he's gonna put the cuts out, and Van Damme put edited film, and he put more of the cuts in it, more of the cuts. He put more of the cuts in it, which the fight scenes are more phenomenal, more exciting, and the budget for this movie was only $500,000, $5,000, and the budget was actually cost the salary for Van Damme, $5,000 million, which was awesome. So that was awesome for Van Damme. I love this cover. the back, which I have kind of different. I love this cover. Cyborg is a pure badass action film, my opinion. Martial arts, more a martial arts film. And it's like, just like in Mad Max, The Road Warrior, this is actually when them in a post-apocalyptic world, which I love that. I love the design, the setting for the post-apocalyptic world, how they did, in the future. It's just like The Road Warrior with Mel Gibson, And that was awesome that he was in that kind of barbaric world, and I love that. I miss those kind of action movies, And he's the first hero of the 21st century, and he's our only hope, and I love that, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Shannon Letitch, they edited, in 2 months they bring the cut back, which was released in theatrical cut, which was awesome. Van Damme and Shannon Letitch, I'm glad they did cut the scenes out, that they actually edited the film, which was only 1 hour 26 minutes. Yes, only 1 hour 26 minutes is long film. It's fast paced. It has tons of martial arts, tons of fights, pure badass epic fights. Like Van Damme has like a knife by ankle or a boot knife, which I love that, or his gun. I love actually his gun. I love, I love Cyborg, incredible to death. I love one of my favorite action films. I would say underrated kick-ass action film. It holds 5.1 on IMDb. Roger Ebert hates the film. He hates this film, Broken Arrow. He hates Predator 2, which I love. I don't know about Rambo vs. Part 2 or any of the movies behind me, but he hates this film, Broken Arrow. He hates this film. He hates Predator 2. Those are the movies that I love, that I grew up, And as a kid, I was not a fan of Cyborg. But now, back in 2016, when I keep watching the movie, it became my favorite. I even bought the Blu-ray. So yes, Cyborg I'll put very high on my top favorite films, with Bloodsport, Cyborg, Kickboxer, love Cyborg to death. My third favorite Van Damme film, I love Cyborg. I actually love Cyborg. I also love Bloodsport. But so the movie is actually a revenge film in post-apocalyptic world, and it's also a revenge film, and it's also the hunt for the cure for the plague, for the cure to end the plague and restore the world. And Vincent Klein, I hope I pronounce his last name, who plays Fender Temolo, a pirate. He wants to have he kidnaps a droid, a cyborg woman, which she wears in her brain. She wears a data which they can find a cure to end the plague and to finally restore the world, And Fender wants that, and Van Damme, and of course, so when the first stars, we actually heard that Vincent Klein's voice was actually dubbed, maybe because his accent was terrible, so they dubbed his voice. But doesn't matter, I enjoyed it. So his I did wrote the lines down. So I did wrote down his lines with the narration from Vincent Klein's narration, Fender Tomolo. First there was the collapse of civilization, anarchy, genocide, starvation. Then when it seemed things couldn't get any worse, we got the plague with the living dead quickly closing its fits over the entire planet. Then we heard the rumors that the last scientists were working on a cure that would end the plague and restore the world. Restore it? Why? I like the death. I like the misery. I like this world. I love that, I love the set, the apocalyptic world. I love the future. I love this world, I like this world. I love that, And then we see then we see pirates, chasing this young girl, Pearl Prophet, played by Dale Haddon. She's a human cyborg. She's wearing the data in her head for the cure for this plague, and she's been chased by those pirates. And of course, Gibson saves her and kills two pirates. But he gets fired by this weapon. He gets fired by this weapon. Paintball gun gets fired, but in the ashes, he wakes up. And of course, I love when Fender says, "You come with me or give you a horror show," and he grabs the girl and they go to Atlanta because with a boat because he wants the cure. He wants to have a cure. He's gonna be God. So they go to this village. They burn this village and they steal the boat. And I love when Fender says, "You think we're gonna swim to Atlanta? I hate the water. I can't swim, asshole!" And he punches him, And when them wakes up from the ashes, he goes, after Fender, because we find out, through flashbacks that Gibson is actually Slinger. He's a gunman for hire, and he does that. He brings the people out of the city, and he helped this family, which they became his new family. And Fender killed them all. He took everyone. He killed them all. And now Gibson wants revenge on Fender. He only hunts Fender down. And in the village, he finds this attacker, and then grabs a knife, throws a knife, doesn't kill that person, finds out it's a girl. He decides to help her out, and it's Nadine Simmons, played by Deborah Richter. I hope I pronounced her last name right, Deborah Richter, and Richter, and Nadine and Gibson decides to become become friends, and Nadine wants to have the cure. She wants to find the cure. She wants the girl to save her to get the cure, while Gibson only wants Fender. He wants revenge. They decide to team together, and they travel to Wasteland, to the ashes, to Wasteland, to catch and cut Fender's boat before they came to Charleston, and Van Damme and Nadine goes through Wasteland, and they came into incorporate. They go through the woods, and they go into incorporate parts of the building, incorporate parts of the building. And Van Damme first takes one of the pirates out, and Nadine is captured by those pirates. And Van Damme goes like a pure badass, and he uses his kicks, his knee kicks, kneecaps, and kicks ass. He kicks the guys down, while his knees, like a pure badass he is, And the personal trainer for Van Damme was actually Michel Gissi. He later played Tong Po in Kickboxer. And he was personal trainer for Van Damme. And I just love that, love the kicks, when they're like a pure badass. He even uses his first gun and shoots one of the guys, one of the pirates in the neck, And the guy grabs a chain, and takes his gun out, and Van Damme like a pure badass with his knee, knocks the shit out of him, And Van Damme grabs his knife, like knife from the ankle, and Van Damme kicks another guy, throws the guy in the back while he attacks Nadine with his leg, kicks his twice. She goes, "Son of a bitch," punches, and the guy falls down in the ashes, in the bandit factor, in the incorporate parts of the building. But that was pure badass, And she says we're a pretty good team. So now they go together. So now Van Damme and Van Damme and Nadine, Gibson and Nadine, they travel together to wait for the ship. And of course Van Damme refuses the sex with Nadine, and Van Damme, and now they go, and now Van Damme and Nadine, they actually track down Fender to they track down Fender to abandoned factory. And Nadine, Van Damme says, Gibson says, stay put, stay here, stay put. But that's not what happens, because Van Damme, Nadine, she goes, in the abandoned factory, but she gets captured and locked down by pirates. And Van Damme climbs on this bridge, and there's this pirate with a knife, and they run each other. And Van Damme they like fight each other, they're like both fight each other. And Van Damme, kicks. Van Damme uses a spin kick. Uses a spin kick, on the first pirate, a spin kick, and then he uses with a leg kick, like boom, kick right with the leg, then he uses once again his boot kick right in the neck and kills the guy. There's another pirate, kicks Van Damme's in the back. Van Damme, he's like yeah, and Van Damme, and Van Damme, he falls in the bridge when one of the pirates, kicks him with the leg in the back, and he holds himself in the pipes, and the pirate grabs a knife, wants to show in Gibson, and Van Damme shakes the pipes, and then pipes breaks down, he swings, and he swings there like Tarzan, he swings there, and like he uses like his gun, he uses this gun, he uses and shoots like 3 guys, bang, 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 but he's out of ammo, and he goes and kicks the bad guys, like he even shows to Fender, and when he kills one of his boys, Fender like, motherfucker, and shoots him right in the neck, right in the shoulder, motherfucker shoots him right in the shoulder. And then there's like slow motion, and then them grabs the demon and escapes, and they go through this tunnel with water, and the tunnel they go through the water, and Van Damme, like a pure badass, a real hero. This is a real hero, like a real hero. He makes a split, he makes like split like that, many of Van Damme films he makes a split, and of course this guy, this pirate, he looks up, and Van Damme like stabs him in the face. I wish there would be more gore in this movie. Epic, stabs him right in the face stabs him, while the guy looks up, like splits and right, stabs in the fucking face. I love that scene. I wish they would see more gore about this film, I love this fucking movie. I love this movie, man. Such a cool, badass movie, Cyborg. Such a kick-ass movie, in my opinion. And of course Van Damme, like a badass, stabs the guy. Then he wears, Nadine, and he asked her that she should go with him, but she said no. She said no because you're not strong enough, So Van Damme like escapes, and in the swamp, the like pirates chasing. I love the chase scene, which Van Damme and Nadine, Deborah Richter, they both running, in the swamp. And the first guy, the catches, they land in this water, the swamp, and Van Damme fights this guy pirate, and he uses like a he use a jump spin kick, right in his face. He grabs him and punches him once again, like a pure badass he is, The fight scene in the swamp is the best of the best, in my opinion, ever Van Damme did. And Deborah, as Nadine, she goes and fights off, this girl, she goes and cuts her head, her arm, and she screams, and then she cuts her, but the girl punches her, knocks her down, unconscious. And Van Damme fights this guy, and another pirate star, Van Damme, kicks almost all of them, but there are too many of them, and Van Damme, collapses. And of course now he's surrounded by those guys, he's surrounded by, Van Damme is surrounded by, he's surrounded by pirates, and Van Damme is now he's now pissed, and Van Damme is now pissed, and of course they say of course Fender says get him up, and Fender kicks his ass, and Van Damme gets ass kicked because he gets his ass kicked because he's tired. He's not he's tired. He's surrounded. He's alone. He has no one to help him out, and he's tired. And there are too many, and he's a human being, he's not a cyborg, he's a human being. And then of course Fender kicks the shit out of him, and then they actually go and they actually tied him to they actually go to this cross, I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, crossbow. They actually they actually tied him to a crossbow, as a crucifixion, yeah, and they actually go into crossbow crucifixion. He's tied to this cross, and he remembers the scenes, back when what happened, like he found Van Damme found a perfectly family, Gibson found a family. He found like that family that he was taken out of the city because by the pirates, their parents were killed, and that Mary was actually the love of his life, and that young girl, Hayley, that young girl Hayley, now she's actually Fender's girlfriend, but that time she was young Hayley, and Fender and his thugs, they killed everyone, and Fender, and of course that was years ago, and I love when Gibson, he grabs his leg, he starts kicking the cross, and he gets out, he climbs out, and he goes on the crease, says Fender, and Van Damme, like a pure badass he is, kicks the fucking cross to pieces, and the cross falls down, and then we see a she-warrior, a shadow of a she-warrior with Nadine, and she casts and says, you're gonna use my help. And now in Atlanta, when this guy shows up, when Fender and his pirates crew shows up, when them, Gibson grabs, he grabs bow and arrow and fires an arrow in front the foot of Fender, and Fender sends his pirates, and Van Damme, like a pure badass, fights off one of the guys, says I kill slingers, and Van Damme, like a pure badass, kicks his ass, uses his martial arts spin kicks, or his knives, he cuts one guy right here, he cuts one of the guy right here, boom, he cuts him, or Van Damme uses all his great martial arts, his fight scenes are fantastic in my opinion. And of course Nadine fights this pirate, she pirate woman once again, a lot of fight scenes. And now, because now all the pirates, Van Damme, no problem, kills all the pirates, and Hayley stays alone. And then Hayley remembers that the Gibson, she thought he's dead, but he's alive, because she wears that necklace. And now Fender, that fight scene between Gibson and Fender is a pure badass epic, And now Fender, he's way too strong. He kicks Gibson's ass, and Gibson falls in that car, in the storm. He falls in that car. And of course now Hayley says, stop it, and now Fender wants to stab Hayley, and Van Damme uses his leg and kicks him, breaks the glass and kicks in the back, And then Van Damme like uses, and of course the girl Nadine shows up and gets killed. She gets stabbed by Fender, and I love when Van Damme yells Nadine, and he like uses his kick and he kicks the door in Fender, and he goes like he goes out there like Fender, and Fender says fucker, Fender, fucker, and I love the fight scenes, Van Damme like a pure badass, fights him and kicks the living shit out of Fender. Love the fight scene, a great choreography by Van Damme and Michelle Gissi. Love that, love this movie, man. And Van Damme saves the girl and Nadine gets killed, but Fender stands up and attacks Van Damme in that shed. They fight each other, and Van Damme grabs his head, throws it the fucking wall, and then I think Van Damme grabs, I think was a spin kick, and I think he uses a spin kick and punches him, I think in the chest, and the guy falls down in the hook, he gets stabbed in the back in the hook and dies, and then Gibson saves Hayley, brings to the scientist that girl Pearl, that Cyborg, for the cure. And and of course Pearl says stay with us, and Gibson says no, we are outside, we did outside, and he takes the girl Hayley, he gets the girl back, and I love when Pearl says the strange, I think he's the real cure for this world, The movie ends with a beautiful music score. And Cyborg is pure badass martial arts film, I also love the villains, the pirates by Fender, I love the costumes, the apocalyptic world, the fight scenes are badass, the music score by Kevin Bassinson is actually pure badass epic. The fight scenes, like my favorite scene, will definitely will be in the swamp, when Van Damme fights this guy, this pirate, and uses a flying spin kick in the face, or my favorite, or actually my favorite scene will be when he has a split and the guy looks up and Van Damme stabs him in the face. That's my favorite scene. But another favorite scene will definitely be in the swamp thing, Van Damme fights this guy, like a pure badass he is, uses a flying jump spin kick in the face. He grabs him and once again he kicks him in the face with his leg, boom, in the face he kicks him, and that's my favorite scene. Or that abandoned, or in that abandoned facility, the abandoned factory, like Van Damme, he gets kicked in that bridge, in that fences break, he grabs himself in the pipe, catches himself in the pipe, and the guy grabs a knife, shows in him, and Van Damme shakes it so that he breaks the pipe, swings there, and he like shoots 3 guys, and he also shoots 2 guys with his gun, with love this gun, he shoots 2 guys with this gun, like a pure badass. He shoots these 2 guys, those 2 guards holding Pearl, and under the tunnel, which is my favorite scene. Just great acting performance by Van Damme. I know he wasn't that much of an actor, but he did a great job. Cyborg is actually from the production of Canon, and yes, I love this kind of movies, Cobra and this movie, which I got a lot of those kind of movies, Bloodsport, Cyborg, Kickboxer, of course, Cobra, which I love from Canon, Over the Top, I love, those kind of movies, not Superman 4, the best for crap, but yeah, Jackson Rock Pinky, rest in peace. When Van Damme, he actually cuts him in the face. That was accidentally. He cut his eye during a sword fight scene, which blinded the guy. Which he actually permanently blinded the guy. So he went to the court and he sued Van Damme. He taken the court and he won. And it was the lawsuit was actually settled. He got paid almost 500,000 dollars, so it was settled. The lawsuit. Um, yeah, and the test screening was a disaster. Only 1 out of 100 liked the film. So yeah, that's how Menachem Golan and Joran Globus tried to convince Van Damme to release the movie the way it is, but Van Damme convinced them to give him the film, and he added and he put more fight scenes in the film with I don't teach it. I'm glad that cut, because I love this cut, love this movie. I mean, this is a pure badass cyborg, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Also, I have Van Damme's face, on this disc. Cyborg, Van Damme's face. And I swear, as a kid, I was not a fan of this film, but now, as an adult, when I've watched this movie many times, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think he was a Cyborg. It's a pure badass action film from the 80s, And I kind of miss 80s movies like this, Die Hard, Roadhouse, Little Weapon, Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Yes, I got Rambo, First Blood Part 2. My actually a poster yesterday. I waited a month till it actually 2 months I waited for this poster. Now finally it is. But now back to the Cyborg. Yeah, so accident happens. No one's perfect, but most of the fight scenes or the sword fight scenes, are they're actually practical done. They're done for real. No shaky cam that time, no CGI, any CGI. All the effects are real, are practical. But yeah, I also love when one of the guys, he has that kind of stick, and Van Damme grabs it and breaks it. I love that. Love that scene in the film. And yeah, I love that scene. I love the score, the music score. I love the apocalyptic world. I love the costumes. I love when he wears when Fender wears sunglasses, and he takes the sunglasses off, and his eyes are like glowing. He was wearing lenses that time, but I love that. I love Fender's glowing eyes, blue glowing eyes. I love that. I love the costumes. I also love the girl Hayley, played by I wrote down the actress name. Hayley Peterson. That was the only movie that she did, such a babe. She's a hot, sexy babe, I love Hayley Peterson as Hayley. Christina Sebastian, she played young Hayley. She also, both the actors, this is the only film that they actually did. But Hayley Peterson as Hayley was sexy, and she was really beautiful, Ralph Moiler was Brick Bardo in this movie. Matthias Hughes was supposed to be in this movie, but he rejected the idea. But later he declined. Later he regretted. But yeah, Deborah Richter as Neddy Simmons was sexy, was beautiful. Hayley Peterson as Hayley was hot, sexy. Yeah, I can't. I wish she would be on this cover. I kind of prefer the theatrical poster of Cyborg, but Cyborg really love this film. I mean, such a cool, epic movie, great sword fights, like Van Damme, he has a knife on his ankle, or a boot knife, in the opening scene he uses a boot knife, or I love female pirate girls, for Cyborg. I did wrote them down somewhere. Sharon Ketew and of course Karen Spell. They were actually one of those female pirates. I love Fender's Pirates. I love the work that they did in this movie. Yeah. Yeah, in the Swamp Thing, Van Damme cuts the guy in the face with a knife and uses a jump, split spin kick with his leg, which I love that, which I mentioned, but that's my favorite scene. And the other favorite scene will be when them split, a bow, and this guy looks up and when them stabs in the face with a split. That's another favorite scene of mine, in the tunnel. But Cyborg is a pure badass. They don't just make them like this anymore. I mean, they don't make action movies like this anymore, The cast is perfect. Vincent Klein is great as a villain. Fender, I love the fight scene between Fender and Van Damme, a really iconic fight scene. I mean, in Universal Soldier is another iconic epic scene, but that's favorite epic scene of mine. I love this movie to death. Love this movie, Yeah, Gibson Rickenbacker's gun is actually a Tipman SMG 60 paintball gun. So that's that. That gun, paintball gun, Tipman SMG 60, which is cool. Yeah, in Germany it's released Slinger, director's cut. When the film was released on VHS in Germany, the many gore and violent scenes were cut out. And also also I heard that in Albert Payun's director's cut, and actually the scenes are also cut out. Like they cut a lot of violent scenes out, like a lot of gore they cut out. Sometimes directors just had no idea. But I'm glad that Van Damme used that Van Damme did. I'm glad that Van Damme, that Van Damme and Sharon Teach got the hands of this cut, and they actually did a theatrical release. I love the music score by Kevin Basinson. Kitty Chalmers did a great screenplay, produced by Mekan Golan and Joran Globus, directed by Albert Payun. And I also love the chase scene, when pirates are chasing Gibson and Nadine, and as the music goes dun 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 dun. I love that music score, by Kevin Basinson. I love that music score. Love the original music score. Hated the Slinger score. Hated from those two guys. I hated from those two guys. What was already called yeah, but those two guys, which they actually did, yeah, Anthony Riparetti and James Satt, which was actually Anthony Riparetti and James Satt. Yeah, that music score is actually on Albert Payun's edited cut, on his cut, but fuck that cut. I rather prefer the original, It was actually Kevin Basinson was actually in favor for this movie, So so Anthony Riparetti and James Satt score was rejected. I'm perfectly fine. It was rejected. I'm glad it was rejected. The movie made worldwide $10 million on a low budget. It's still a pure badass action film. And I just kind of miss this kind of action movies nowadays. It's really sad they don't make them like in the 80s they did. Like this movie or this movie behind. Roadhouse, Rambo, First Part 2, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, those movies I miss. Those movies are 80s action movies, I'm more an 80s, 90s action guy, I love GoldenEye, Broken Arrow, Demolition Man, Cliffhanger, Con Air, which I reviewed, The Last Boy Scout, Die Hard 2, Die Hard The Vengeance, for the 90s, I love that, but I also love Cyborg. Yeah, there was, yeah, the film was originally going to be sequel Masters of the Universe. starred Dolph Lundgren, but Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren did work then later in the Expendables 2 and also in Universal Soldier. So that's cool. But yeah, they wanted to have Spider-Man and another comic book film, but they did this film. And yeah, originally Chuck Norris, the Albert Payun wrote a movie for originally Chuck Norris would be the star, but they say let's take this guy for who was the star of Bloodsport for Van Damme, and Van Damme chose the part, of Gibson Rickenbacker, a slinger, But yeah, the Germany they released Payun's cut, as called Slinger. But I would rather watch this cut, this movie, which I have a Blu-ray. It's 1 hour 26 minutes long. But yeah, my personal favorite Van Damme film, my personal favorite action film for all time. Underrated kick-ass science fiction apocalyptic post-apocalyptic movie. I love this movie to death. But that's my movie review for Cyborg. The next one I will review will be Kickboxer. So stay tuned for that review. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.